Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Final Space, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by April Collins.
Hello.
John McKenna.
Hi, everybody.
And Andy Potter.
Hello.
Today we are talking Final Space, once again, the Season 1 finale, Chapter 10 of Final Space. We previously had a recap discussion on it earlier in this week. And, it's such a big finale. We need to get even more in depth into this Final Space Season 1 finale. We have three new co-hosts here to give us our new to the finale, takes on, they've been here throughout the season except for Andy, give us their takes on the Final Space finale. So we'll have, all the opinions out there and see, what people think happened in this crazy season finale. So check out our recap at overlyanimated.com. Most of you guys listen on YouTube actually. So if you're listening there, subscribe to there to not miss any future Final Space podcasts. No current plans, but we'll see. And iTunes as well. You could subscribe there with Final Space specific feed. But yeah, spoilers for this big season 1 finale. Make sure you've seen it. This potentially going up is still before it's aired on TV. So, make sure that, you guys have checked out this and the entire Final Space season 1. But let's get into this finale. As I said, these guys we haven't heard their takes on this yet. So, what did you think of the season finale? April.
I really liked it, actually. For like a season finale, it was good. I mean, there's a lot of questions and I have problems with like things here and there, but who doesn't at times? But I really liked it. Had like a really nice solid like flow of action, and I was really kind of taken like by surprise whenever we just sort of jumped straight into it, because it hasn't been like a thing this entire season. So, but it didn't like subtract from the episode in any way. So I liked that. There was a lot of death.
Yes.
Or supposed death, I guess, which I'm sure we'll all discuss. And like the ending was just kind of crazy. And I'm the type of person who really I like whenever a show will like end on a sad note. And so I can like appreciate that because it's kind of bold and risky, even though they kind of took away from it. But I really I was like feeling it. I was like, yes, this is dark and I love it.
This doesn't match your peppy demeanor, April.
Yeah, you're like laughing hysterically about like all this dark stuff, and it's really I love it. I like it.
I can't help it though. Like I can appreciate that. So, especially because a lot of shows aren't bold enough to do that. And David Tennant is like the most amazing voice actor.
Yes.
This entire show. And then his performance in this gave me chills a little bit, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, welcome back to the world, David." But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. It was good. It was very solid.
Okay, April's a fan of the finale. John, what did you think?
I echo April's sentiments on David Tennant as Lord Commander. Absolutely, he was real. I think this may have been his best episode. This finale was almost all what I wanted. We had that great battle scene, which reminded me so much of the finale of Last Airbender. Did anyone else get that? When the ships were crashing into each other, it felt like that side arc at the end of Sozin's Comet in Last Airbender. So that gave me nice nostalgic feels as well. I think the Gary Quinn. I'm more bullish on the Gary Quinn arc than I think a lot of my other co-hosts here. But I actually liked how this one ended, and it showed that Gary did. That was his next big thing in progress. He let Quinn fulfill her mission. He played a supporting role, or at least he was going to attempt to play a supporting role. I am a little peeved at the way Little Kato just died, because they didn't bother to communicate what they were doing with the attack, because Gary just drove straight in. It's like, you could have at least told him you were going to be there. I liked the ending. This was sad. I get it. I liked how they left it sort of ambiguous with Gary, and the way they lumped all the intros together with the countdown was a nice, clever touch. If this is all we get of Final Space, which I don't think it is, I think we could say this was a really fun show, and we're glad to have watched it. But I would love there to be a season 2.
Yeah, definitely. And as of this recording, we're still waiting word, although all signs point to season 2.
Reddit may have said,
Yeah, there's been a lot of rumors about a season 2. Like, even from, like, suggestions from Owan himself.
Owen basically said season 2 on Reddit, so kind of gave it away. But, okay, Andy, we haven't gotten your takes on the show all season, but what did you think of this finale?
I think this finale kind of is a good summary of how I feel about the season as a whole. There are some parts of this finale that I think are just absolutely great. I really love the interactions between Gary and Hugh. I love their relationship. It's really emotional at times.
Gary and Hugh shipper?
Not
always.
No, not shipping. I just mean like they're a really great pair whenever they're on screen together. They're really emotional together and they're really funny together at the same time.
It's the Helga Arnold of the modern day.
Yes.
What?
But I also really like the Kevin stuff in this episode. It was pretty great. But at the same time, I think it really stumbled at a couple of their other more minor relationships, or some of the more major ones. If you're unfortunately, like with Gary and Quinn, I think it kind of stumbled there with some of their conversations near the beginning of the episode, and it kind of stumbled with where it just had Little Kato just kind of literally just blast off like Team Rocket at the end. But and I think that's kind of how I feel about the show in general. It's really great when it's great, and it kind of middles out sometimes but I think the good parts really stand out above their other stuff. And I really enjoyed seeing the end of Gary and seeing him almost go to beer heaven with his dad. I really did like the I like seeing Mooncake have a little character a little bit finally, but then he got captured and didn't do anything after that. I want more Mooncake is what I'm saying. I want more Mooncake.
Yeah, where's the Mooncake spinoff? Is that the real season 2?
Yes.
Wasn't this supposed to be the Mooncake spinoff?
I'm in the middle of writing it, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's the fanfic. Okay.
Okay.
So you're all relatively positive, at least potentially very positive, depending on who, about this finale. Let's do a quick yes or no. Is anyone willing to say this season finale is the best episode of Final Space out of the 10? April?
No.
John?
It's really close.
Yes.
Okay, Andy?
No way. Not even close.
Not even close. Okay, interesting. Yeah, John, you're our first person out of the, I think, 7 people on this podcast watch show that you're willing to say it is the best episode. Why?
Because it kept me constantly engaged. It jumped straight in. The roller coaster was taken off, and you were along for the ride from the start. Again, the visuals I think were the best of the show. You had the great battle scene with the ships that I mentioned earlier. The line delivery from guys like from Lord Commander obviously, but also Hugh with the by sending Hugh by sending Kevin out into the sending Kevin out. It's like, you are expendable, get out there, or so help me God, I will destroy you. Yeah. Hugh this may be the funniest Hugh has been. I actually pretty kind of like the whole Harry Potter King's Cross afterlife type dealy, even though imported beer is not my idea of heaven at all. But other than that, it gave me it was nice resolution. It was definitely it was sad. I liked the risk, as April mentioned. I liked how they take a risk and how not everything worked out. In the end, they left it ambiguous, and it left you wanting more. And that's exactly what you want out of a season finale. I want to be hooked so I got something to look forward to next year. And it achieved that. And combined all together, had the fewest weak spots. That's why it had to be the best episode for me.
Okay, that's reasonable. I especially think the fewest weak spots thing is potentially. Yeah, I mean, I think it's up there, right? So definitely a reasonable take.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people loving it. And we don't need to get into craft versus imported, which I think is where you're going with that. But
hashtag craft.
I'm ready for this discussion.
No, we're not getting into that. It's not what we're doing. April, quickly, what's the best episode if it's not 10?
Number 9.
9. Okay, you're on my team on that. Andy.
Number 7 for sure.
Okay, so you for a second we had like 5 different opinions. So and for reference, Mel said 7, Michelle said 4, Alex said 8, and I think 9. So we've a widespread through 5 episodes. I think 9's incredible. I think it's one of the best episodes of the year.
I think that's pretty impressive though that we all have different favorites though, considering this is the first season of a show. It's pretty awesome.
I was gonna say I love that what is it? Because whenever I was listening to like the other podcast about the finale, like everyone was talking about all of the different episodes, and I was like, yeah, but isn't that great? Whenever there's a first season of any show that has so many like standout episodes, I like it. It makes me feel really good. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah, I mean, I think all that, the 5 episodes we mentioned, along with potentially 3 and 6, are all top tier episodes. Like, that's a lot of great episodes of the season.
It beats the hell out of the Rick and Morty summary, where it's like nearly everybody picked the same episode as the best one. I like the variety for a change.
That's the case of the latest Rick and Morty season. Would standout episode, but there's just a bunch of pretty similarly quality episodes here.
Yeah. I was going to say, but it also, like, it speaks volumes because, like, Rick and Morty is an established show. And, like, in the latest season, like, there are literally episodes that I've forgotten. And they have the same amount of episodes. And so, but, like, for this one, I can't say that I've forgotten any episode of this season. I remember them all, like, very vividly. And maybe it's just the visuals that sort of help with that. Or maybe I was just slightly more engaged. But, like, for a, like, I don't know what to call this, like a first time show to like have that kind of impact. Like it speaks volumes to the production about, you know, what's going on and everything and all of the work that everyone put into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it also helps that this show has a much more rigid plot than Rick and Morty. Like you can definitely, those help. Those signposts help you remember episodes a lot better.
I mean, maybe. I mean, we shouldn't compare it to Rick and Morty, one of the best shows.
The only issue though with that signpost thing though is that the episode titles like chapter 1, 2. Yeah. It's like you have to tell me it's like say chapter 5 is the best. If people say okay, chapter 4 is the best episode. Which one was that again?
So John wants to name the episode. Should we come up with our own names, or no, we won't. But should we start naming episodes in season 2?
No. Oh, I don't know. I guess it depends on what's going on.
Otherwise, we're going, chapter 11, 12, 13?
I like
we're House of Cards-ing this thing.
Yeah, I like the idea of having this
1.2.
If they're stuck with the chapter thing, I'm fine with the chapter and then a subtitle. Like that's fine. But I think they're kind of stuck with having chapters now that they've gone up to 10.
I think they should just start naming them. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, let's use Avatar. It's like, was book 3 chapter 19 your favorite? Which one was that?
They had titles. They had subtitles.
Right, yeah. But I'm trying to use that as an example. You remember the titles.
Yeah, Avatar just replaces episode with chapter. Jane the Virgin also does this chapter thing, and looking back on the season, I'm trying to find what the standout episodes are. It's impossible to differentiate them. So if there were more than 10, we would lose track of what episode is what.
They could always go back and rename them too. I mean, shows have done that before. Hey Arnold named episodes. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't get that, but we're gonna Star Wars retcon things and the name and titles. Yeah, okay, we're excited about that. Okay, interesting. Let's delve into some specifics from the finale. We talked about all these deaths or supposed deaths. We went over this a lot in the recap. Not many are definitive. Really, only like Kevin is the only definitive death, and he's a robot, so he could come back if his consciousness was backed up. And there's also other Kevins.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Who? Kevin?
Oh, Tribor.
Tribor, yeah, I think Tribor is the second most definitive.
Tribor is totally dead.
He didn't take a pretty bad hit on that ship.
I got some pushback on the recap. I said Tribor is definitely dead, and everyone else disagreed. But
Tribor was one of the most clear deaths.
Right. Other than Kevin, he's the other. And Hugh's alive, and Lord Commander's alive. Other than that, everyone else could be dead. So let's say whose supposed death did you have the biggest reaction to emotionally, April?
So my answer is going to be Quinn's. And I think most of it had to do with that sort of small exchange between her and Gary before it. It was going to be Gary's, but then I didn't really like the whole father scene. I felt it kind of took away from like the very like mood of what was happening. And then the beam of light at the very end of the episode just like ruined it for me. And I was like, well, I'm not sad anymore. Like, so it was definitely.
I just wanted to be sad. Darn.
Yeah, like I wanted to like revel in my sadness. No, it would have been like really beautiful, or I say that, but my definition of beautiful is kind of wonky, but especially because like Gary delivers this line where he says like the good guys always win in the end, and it's like, yeah, but look at you guys not winning right now. Like that would have just like solidified that statement for me, for him to just not be alive. But it feels like he's very obviously alive. But yeah, Quinn's was definitely like the most emotional one, because I also appreciated the fact that they didn't sit there and say like I love you. She said I'll miss you. And like, just because they're not really in that point of their relationship, and shows kind of tend to like revert to that. It's like, oh, I'm dying, so I love you. I hate that so much. It's so dumb.
Interesting.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, obviously, if there's season 2, Quinn's going to be around, but at least it was a send-off, at least in terms of this plot and what she's happening. Yeah, it was definitely an emotional one. John, what did you react to the most? Which death?
I maybe. Well, here's the thing. On a personal emotional level, yeah, I thought Quinn's death was bad, was the most emotional for me for the reasons April said. But I think the one I most reacted to was Kevin's death, mainly because I was laughing so hard at Gary crying tears of joy. I was so like,
beautiful.
No, because like you relate to it's like, oh my god. I was like, oh, they could do is how Gary secretly misses Kevin. He's like, it's so beautiful. I'm like, yes, this is great. I so want to see that, because that's another thing that shows don't do. You don't really see people be happy that somebody died. And I thought that was like, it almost felt earned. It's like, is Gary finally gonna think higher of Kevin? Nope, fuck that. Gary still hates Kevin. I'm like, yes, that was just so funny. And I absolutely loved that scene.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the obvious on the board answer. Yeah, that's so good. We talked about it so much. We could get into it more. Andy, what did you react to the most?
I think I reacted to Kevin the most, but for the sake of diversity here, I did react. I did react.
Yeah, exactly.
I did react to Tribor dying a little bit because I was surprised. I did find Tribor really funny by the time we got to the end of the episode 10 or episode 9, I mean, and him doing the Wii U sound for the resistance to come up really. And then he just died with like a gut punch because he was finally a really good character, and then he was just gone. Oh. He could have been so good. Every time he explained something was the best. I never got over it. I never got over him ever.
He'll be back. He has to be back somehow.
Who was Tribor's voice actor again?
It's Olin Rogers.
Oh wow!
Wait, it is?
Yes.
Oh my god,
right.
That's incredible.
Nice job. So he's Gary, Mooncake, and Tribor.
Yes, which is the best performance of the three?
Obviously Mooncake.
Obviously, yeah, it's Mooncake. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. Did you hear that Pac in this episode? It was so emotional.
What the Pac? What about the Chukali? Jeez.
God.
Yeah. Okay, so Andy's pro Tribor. I love Resistance Leader Tribor. I called it the best gag in the show. April, are you pro or anti Tribor?
I really enjoyed Tribor. Like, I thought I would get really annoyed with him constantly being like, is it time to resist? It is time to resist. And I thought that would be the most annoying thing, but I loved it. Like, and maybe it's just the delivery or whatever, but it was just great. Like, and him asking like strange questions, like whenever they were doing something at the very beginning, and he was like, "Is this fun? This is fun." Like, you're about to go die, but okay.
Yeah, they painted the flames. What a good episode for Tribor.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite.
Is it too late? It is.
It is. Yeah, he's so happy.
And he's
John,
like, "You want me to use these things?"
John, pro Tribor?
Oh, absolutely. He was. And yeah, same with April. Like, I did think it was going to get kind of annoying after a while. I'm going a lot with April tonight. I just realized, which is a good thing. Hey, but no, it's but yeah, same thing. I was worried it was going to get pretty annoying, but the one thing I think they did well is that they kept it limited. They kept it contained, so that every time, and again, the delivery was fantastic. So every time he would say something like that, it would get a laugh out of me, and it was just really well, and he was just really well done. And he was really well used. So really, he did a great job.
Yeah. I mean, Tribor, what so good. He's what I'll remember about the show the most. That's probably not true, but maybe.
But even like, what is it? Like his beginning kind of like appearance sort of like left an impression. Like,
yeah, he was memorable in a bad way, but yeah.
Yeah, like trying on Quinn's clothes. I still remember that very, very well.
I mean, Olin Rogers did tell us he had a great character arc, and he did. He was great.
Yeah,
That's
no,
true.
it's such a good parody of these resistance space plot lines.
Yeah.
Him just about all those like resistance leader characters. Like this is the fucking guy that's the resistance leader. It's so good.
Like of all
And
of,
I love the woman that's in love with him. She's just, oh my god, she's just his fangirl. I love it so much.
she moves on pretty quickly though. Like
did.
she's like, who's the new resistance leader?
Yeah,
And then
she just-
it's like little Kato of all the
Yeah.
people. Like
Yeah. So no one picked Little Kato in the death pool here, but
He's not dead.
Okay. So Andy took issue with the Little Kato scene, I think, and potentially other people as well. So we didn't like that, Little Kato got ejected into space because Gary is a fucking idiot? We didn't like that?
No.
I mean, I'm just looking at that going, you're about to attack the Lord Commander, you're going into battle. You didn't think to put a freaking walkie-talkie into a little Kato's helmet so you could make sure he got out of the way when you rammed the ship into it? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, little Kato died because of Gary's
He's not dead.
stupidity. Well, what is he then?
He's
He has a
as
spacesuit.
dead as anyone else except for, well, he's
Probably
floating in space. So
except
did
for
Gary.
Quinn.
But I mean, there's other resistance fighters about. Someone will help him.
They'll just scoop him up out of air, maybe.
Right. Okay. So it's characters that are most likely to be in season 2. I mean, it's like Gary, then Quinn, then Lord Commander, then I think Little
Quinn?
Kato's 4th.
Wait.
oh,
Quinn? How can Quinn come back?
She didn't
I mean-
die on screen. She's not dead.
Quinn is
She's-
definitely coming back.
She's in
Yeah,
final
exactly.
space and opened the bomb. How does
Right,
she?
she's in final space. So I
Yeah.
think we're going to final space. For
Yeah,
season 2,
exactly.
I
At the very least, she's the goal of next season.
think. Earth is in final space too.
Well, then that
That's
means
another
that-
point. That's a good
Earth
point.
it is unless
then-
the or like are the Titans like playing like a pickup basketball game with Earth or something? Like,
It's kind of what it looks like. Yeah.
April,
That-
are you writing season 2 right now?
that
I
might be
told
why
you
they
I
needed it.
was.
Yeah, I mean, I get. Yeah, I mean, you could expect similar skepticism to Quinn dying to any of these characters. I feel like, but there's ways for all of
Except
them
Kevin.
to come back.
Well, here's the thing. I think the issue for me in like bringing Quinn back for season 2 is if Quinn is in final space and she's still alive, that means Gary's dad is still alive, doesn't it?
I mean,
Possibly.
I think Gary's dad was like a figment of. You can interpret that scene in a lot of ways that he was not real. Gary's dad's dead. I think,
But he
like
did the same thing as Quinn did. He ran with an antimatter bomb into
yeah,
Right,
I guess.
exactly.
The difference between Quinn and Gary's dad is that we have Nightfall, which still is like super unexplained, but like it would help bring her back in season 2, like because she has to become Nightfall, right?
Right,
Or does
Nightfall is also definitely alive, which I believe is a separate character, and I don't think Quinn's fate is necessarily connected to Nightfall, though it depends on which like timeline theory you subscribe to and like how physics work. But which the show says it doesn't apply physics. So
It clearly doesn't.
yeah,
It in the show they just brushed it aside. So
right. I guess Gary's dad could be alive. There's a big time difference. That was a while ago. This is Quinn just happened, and I'd fully expect Quinn to be back. I mean,
yeah, I know, because that's the thing. It's like if they both did the same thing. Either they're both alive or they're both dead. I don't think how would you be able to explain one still being alive and one being dead unless like one of them dies in final space doing
just show
final
his
spacey
skeleton.
stuff.
yeah.
show
I mean,
skeleton.
he could have been killed by the Titans in Final Space.
Like,
and
you-
Quinn
you're
wasn't.
gonna
Maybe they just decide to keep Quinn as a pet. It's fine.
if Quinn's alive, the explanation better be good. That's all I'm saying.
You want so much.
I think the same applies to Little Kato, and I think the same the same kind of applies to Gary, and he just got MacGuffin saved at the end, right? Like there's any of these people can be alive. I feel like.
Well, Dylan, we have to save the fucking main character. Like, it doesn't make sense to not.
Well,
the main
according
character.
to the Quinn speech, Quinn and Gary, they're both the main character. That's kind of what they're getting into in the finale.
Yeah, that's right.
I think the bigger thing is it's the main character voiced by the creator of the show.
I think that would be amazing if the creator of the show killed off the character he voiced.
Yeah, I'm actually a little unsure on whether they should have killed off Gary or not. Because he was holding the season back in the beginning, but then he really got there towards the end. He's still not like the strong point of the show, and potentially making Quinn the lead and killing Gary would solve a ton of the show's problems. I don't think it's like a have to do, but like it would be an interesting move. But clearly,
I think that's why I like episode 7 the most, because I think that's the time when Gary is the strongest for me. That we get deeper into like what he cares about. But I just don't. It doesn't feel like the show is interested in pushing forward Gary too far, though.
I mean, I think Gary changed a ton from the beginning. He's a completely, episode 9, he's saying you're such a jerk before. He's clearly a much better person now. He's clearly better with Quinn, and he's able to support Quinn and not have to be the action hero. He can let Quinn be the action hero. I think there's a lot there.
But I mean, he's still laughing at Kevin dying. Like, I mean, he's still.
That's because he hates Kevin.
We're all laughing at Kevin dying.
Yeah.
I was crying. Okay, excuse you.
Oh, sorry, Dylan. I apologize. R.I.P. Kevin.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that different. I think he generally has the same moral compass he had at the beginning. He's just actually interacted with Quinn as a human being instead of this fantasy he had for so long. And so that's really what changed over the course of the season.
I feel like he's been reined in a little bit. Like, he's still really, like, goofy and zany and Gary, but he's like a slightly more controlled version of it. And I think there was one episode that kind of, it might have been, I can't remember which episode it is now, but there's, like, one episode where he's, like, going back and forth between, like, they're showing back and forth between, like, him talking to the group and then him talking to the camera. And like in the like video diary thing, and it's like two totally different kind of people. Whereas like in previous episodes, he would have been like the crazy zany person, like freaking out or whatever. But I think like that is sort of that comparison between like here's Gary before and here's Gary now kind of thing.
Right.
He's able to present himself as a leader to the group. I think he's grown in a lot of ways.
He has. For me, the turning point was episode 4. That's when he started to become a lot more interesting rather than grating. I will say my main criticism of Gary is it's not that he's a bad character. I thought he was a really good character, but the way the show was written, it funneled so much of the show through Gary's perspective, and I'm not entirely sure. He was either a strong enough character or a passive enough character for that to really work in a narrative focus. Because I felt like a lot of effort was placed into Gary, and he didn't make enough progress needed to then spend time on other character arcs, which I think that's the one problem I think with season 1 that I'm going to have is there were a lot of characters that were underdeveloped because I think a lot of effort was having to be put into Gary because so much of the story depended on him.
Yeah, I think that's a great critique. We talked about how Little Kato is barely a person. That's the most striking example. But really, outside of Gary and potentially Quinn, there's very few fleshed out characters on the show. I would say 0 fleshed out characters on the show.
I wouldn't even say Quinn's super fleshed out. Like, we would only get like snippets of her throughout the season. And even then, like the most like fleshed out she was is with like Nightfall. And that was it. Like, but even that it's still a mystery to us. Like,
and it's hard to connect Nightfall to her character. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause we've only ever really seen them as two separate characters. And then all of a sudden they're supposedly the same person, but there's no, like, she like kind of explains like how she got to be, but doesn't like, it's so ambiguous.
Right. and I think And as a comparison, if we think we're comparing season 1's, season 1 of Steven Universe, like Steven was the show was funneled through Steven, but he was actually a secondary character that whole time, and it allowed the other characters to be built up, and then he was able to build up secondly. So I think if they wanted to funnel it through Gary, like it's either you make Gary the star and then maybe have a few side arcs that go on the side where he's not involved, or you make him a bit player and play the long game. And I think they kind of got caught between two minds.
Interesting. I definitely think the thought that we spent so much time on Gary that other elements of the show suffered is very true. And the show never really convinced me why Gary is our main character. I don't really think there's
reason.
I don't really think there's anything special about Gary, which, by the way, is kind of the point. And the show tries to, we get into this. It's a theme, and but Gary isn't particularly relevant. He's someone's son, and that's kind of it. and he gets chosen by Bolo, I guess. And other than that, everyone just kind of rallies around him, and like Hugh gets super pro Gary, and everyone else does just because they all like him. But he doesn't bring a lot to the table as a lead, I feel like, and he like, I ended up liking him, and I think that's a major accomplishment because I hated him in the beginning. It's like the show really did turn things around with that character a lot, but it potentially did come at the expense of other things. I guess season 2, I'd like to see potentially less focus on him. I think we've got there with him. If he's still our lead, now we can just use him as a point of view and focus on other things.
Or maybe at the very least, I think I'd be fine if they focused on him a little bit more, but show why he's the lead, like why all these people come to him,
because
it's not really
they
clear.
Told us.
Yeah, like, but that's not enough. And like Dylan was saying, that's not enough.
Well, but like if you kind of think about it in like the grand scheme of the season, he could be the main character because it was his dad who closed the breach first. And like, can you imagine if it was just like random John Smith and they're like, John Smith, he's in prison however many light years or whatever away from Earth, and they're like, oh yeah, there's a breach. Like, there's no real connection between like him and the breach or anything like that. But with Gary, there kind of was. I mean, it's a stretch. Hey, it's a stretch, and I'm reaching for it.
I think I would almost like it more if he had no relation to this guy that closed the breach. He was just shown up by Bolo, and it just happened that the Lord Commander was there. And I don't think it really adds much to it that he's the son of this guy that did it. I do like the fact that we get to see that emotional time, that emotional meeting between him and his father. I just don't think that necessarily helps the plot or helps me understand why he's the main character. It's great to see that scene is really emotional. Him talking to his dad before he dies.
Yeah, I think Gary's relationship with his dad was very central and important, but Gary's dad being who he is was completely irrelevant, except for the one scene in episode 8, which I still feel like was more about his relationship with his dad and not so much that his dad is the guy that was going to close the breach. Like, it still feels like more of Quinn's thing, which the finale gets into. And, Quinn feels very central to the story because it ends up being about closing the breach, and that's why we say it's Quinn's, it's her thing, and she's going to go do it at the end. So yeah, Gary, he doesn't seem particularly relevant to anything that's happening. I don't know. He's still I think he's kind of supposed to be a satire of like an action hero.
I think a little. There's a bit of a satirical element in this. Yeah.
Which is kind of what you could say about this season as a whole, is that it's kind of all supposed to be a satire commentary on these types of stories. But we don't really go in depth with any of that. It's all kind of superficial commentary.
But I think if you're going to go satire, you should go full satire. It's kind of, we're like in this weird limbo between like wanting to be serious, but then also wanting to like make fun of ourselves and what like the other, the genre that we're trying to exist in. And so I think that's where we kind of get lost, is that we're just sitting here and like, because the show has beautiful, like, serious moments, but at the same time, and has great, like, comedy, but it's coming, like, at this expense of, like, what's going on and how did we get here kind of thing.
Yes. So what you're saying is it's not Galaxy Quest.
Oh, no, it's really not.
To me, the biggest attempt at satire ends up being the Gary Quinn relationship, and I got into this a lot on the recap. But I all season I was expecting a big subversion with the two of them. We're not just going to do this stupid played for straight action hero romance with the girl Gary's obsessing over, and I think the finale does try to subvert it by making Quinn the center of action with closing the breach and saying that we're both the hero. It was never about Gary, it was about both of them. I think that was like its best attempt at satire. But even that definitely didn't feel like the big subversion I wanted. It felt like a payoff, but not like a huge payoff.
I can agree with that. Like, because my feelings reflect yours, and that's what I was waiting to happen. And then I'm okay, I guess, with how it ended, because like I said earlier, like, I'm glad that we didn't get that very like tropey, like, it's the end of the world, I love you kind of thing. because it's boring and played out. And I think that if they had done it, like, I would have been extremely angry, because that's not what their relationship is, and that's never what it's been. It's been like this crazy guy, like, chasing after this girl that he talked to like once, and destroyed a Mexican restaurant for.
Someone who did not know industry. Yeah, I'm still a little baffled at how we started with that. But yeah, so you ended up being okay, but not enthused, April, with Gary Quinn at the end.
Yeah, I was okay with it. Well, like I said, it was like they had really solid moments, but I couldn't take them romantically. Like, whenever they're, he's deciding to, let her take the bomb into the breach. And like, I took that as very like, it's sort of like a sign of like respect kind of thing versus like I'm doing this for you romantically. Like, here's my grand romantic gesture. And even like at the end, whenever they're saying their goodbyes to each other, again, I didn't take it like, I didn't take that exchange as like a soulmate, significant other conversation. It was like, like, I'll miss you, you've been like a good friend to me kind of thing. And I think I'm okay with that, of them being like really good friends or companions versus like, this is the love of my life and I would die for her or him.
Right. Yeah. But if Quinn was Gary's love of his life and we did that whole thing, I would have been the same mind. I've been like, oh, come on. No, I actually appreciate the fact they laid off. I mean, yeah, we got the smooch. So as I said in the episode 4 podcast, I rule this is canon. Real hot take there that they're going to follow through on Gary Quinn. Imagine me hitting a gavel on a table, but they laid off. Like, Quinn fulfilled her mission. They didn't do the whole lovey thing. He was able to take a step back and showed that line of respect for her. I appreciate the fact that they left it like that, though. I think that's a satisfying end result for this.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Oh, I was going to say, especially because in like the previous episode, they went on their first date. And normally in shows, that's when they have like that. It's like a switch that goes off. And it's like, yeah, we're going on our first date and now we're in love and we can't be separated. But we didn't have that. And so I think that helped me appreciate episode 9 more, is because like, look, they went on this, kind of cute sort of end of the world date. But then at the end, like, given like Gary from the beginning of the season, he probably would have been like, yeah, we're together. This is us. Like, we're in love. We're going to get married. But he didn't do that. And I appreciated their relationship more for that, for not taking that route or taking Gary necessarily down that path.
Yeah, it's a good point that we don't get too romantic payoff-y with them. We have the one kiss, but it's the beginnings of a relationship, and it really genuinely feels like that, as opposed to most other media about that type of thing. Yeah, I think that Gary Quinn kiss scene is I said this on the recap, is my favorite scene of the episode because of the subversion elements we get into, because of what they're talking about. It felt really satisfying to me that this is the ending to the two of them. That being said, I felt nothing when they kissed. I don't care about the two of them romantically. I almost the opposite of that. I almost want them not to be together. But it's like, I appreciate the stuff we got into with them in the finale. I still feel nothing. I still don't ship them. And this podcast has been pretty anti Gary Quinn. I feel like, John, you've been the most positive about the two of them. Do you feel warm and fuzzy when you saw their kiss in the finale?
I let out an audible aww.
Okay, that's something.
I guess that's more than others.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the end of Last Airbender where I was like, yes, it happened. Yes!
Oh yeah, cool. It's no Kate. Come on, but yeah. You would say you support the relationship.
I was talking about Zuko and Ty Lee. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Okay. Stop. But yeah, you were liking the two of them in the finale.
I'm pretty happy. I was pretty happy with that. It also felt more real. It had that nice realism edge to it too.
Andy, were you whooping and cheering when they kissed in the finale?
No, I think my feelings on it are pretty similar to yours, Dylan. I like their interactions. I like how their characters mesh together as two characters on screen, but I didn't ever really feel like Quinn had a real reason for liking Gary. I think the closest they came for me to understanding was her watching the clips of Gary, but I thought that her turning to immediately being like, I love him was way too sudden. Like I could see it being okay, he's a guy that this guy is a cute guy who is at least nice that I can talk to, not I'm in love with this guy. But I do think they're fun to watch on screen interacting, and I do agree that the beginnings of that scene where they kissed were fun to watch, or at least interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea why Quinn likes Gary.
Yeah, I that's the biggest problem for me.
Other than circumstance of them being the two humans alive,
okay,
that I kind of understand. But why does she this fucking asshole? Why does she like him?
I mean, does she like him or like?
Presumably, yes.
Presumably, who knows?
To borrow a phrase that someone told to me, it's kind of like the hyperactive puppy that keeps running into a glass door because he thinks it's wide open and keeps doing that.
Yeah, I think that's the potential appeal of Gary. I agree.
Okay.
I don't see it, but yeah, maybe that's what Quinn likes.
Maybe that's what Quinn likes. Yeah. I mean, like Nightfall did pin Gary to the bed before she started making advances on him.
Yeah, maybe it is in that respect. But yeah, I really just think we should not continue with this relationship. I think it was one of the worst elements. Even though we really got there at the end with these last two episodes, I think it was one of the worst elements of the season. And it's just, I don't know. Is anyone supporting this? Is anyone like really happy with the two of them? I feel like the fandom's tepid on Gary Quinn.
Yeah,
I mean, Quinn's dead.
Quinn's dead. But, yeah, okay.
I think
everyone's dead.
If it was more like, I don't know, like solidly fleshed out or something along those lines, then maybe or if we take the season finale and go sort of like a slow burn with it, maybe I could be behind it, but I want it to be really like genuine and not like tropey and forced, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, if they go interesting places with him, maybe. It's going to be walking such a tightrope because it's starting on such shaky foundations. They did get there at the end, so I don't know. Maybe we could do it.
I think they can do it if they pump the brakes a bit. If they play up more of them just being on screen together, talking to each other a little bit before they really push more of the romance on us. Because I do think their characters have screen chemistry, not like the romantic chemistry. Just like they do play off each other well when they have scenes.
Yeah, I think they have like comedic chemistry.
Yeah.
But I just don't know why continue. What's the Like, what's the benefit? Other than that, this is the thing you do. Like, it feels like it's just such an obvious, just don't do it. Because, what's it bringing to the table? You can just have them not be romantic together. Like, keep them together, but just make it not romantic.
I would be fine with that, Dylan, but I just don't think that's going to happen.
I was going to say, I would be fine with it too, but I just feel like, given the fact that...
Now's the time to try to put it into the universe. That's what I'm saying. Okay,
well, but like I said, like, I think if maybe this whole show hadn't begun because Gary, like, met Quinn in a bar and, like, spent 5 years recording videos to her and she has no idea who he is, then it would be totally different. But that's not where we are. So, but
I think we paid that off. I don't think the show's arc needs them to continue. I feel like we did that. I feel like we watched Quinn see the videos. We watched them kiss in the finale. It's done. Like just, okay, Quinn's in final space. She changes as a person. They don't like each other anymore. Whatever. We can move on.
Hate to break your heart, Dylan.
Wait, what's my heart breaking? That they would be together? Yeah, okay, that's I see it happening. It's going. Clearly, it's the way this type of thing usually goes. I just don't. Other than that, though, like why do you need to? Other than that, it's the expectation.
We don't, but people feel the need to include that stuff, like.
I know, but not every show needs a romantic arc. I was bullish on it, but I'm with Dylan on this one. It doesn't need it.
It doesn't. I'm not saying it does at all. I'm just saying, like, I'm buckling up and preparing for the fact that if we get a season 2, most likely we're going to have it. Like, I'm not going to, like, give myself an unrealistic expectation. This isn't Rick and Morty. Like, the show doesn't survive without that, like, romantic element.
I feel like they can do literally anything they want to in season 2. This ending leaves, they could set Final 2 entirely in Final Space and have it just be this giant, trippy ball of nonsense. They could have it be this horror, like, they're just running from Titans the entire time. They could quickly get Earth back, and they could have it be like a Star Wars thing again. Like, you can do anything you want now.
He could just be in jail again. He could just be like, that could just be a prison ship picking you up. Like, I like, that could be like a fun little, like,
a new prison ship.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah.
The Galaxy 2.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a new h.u.e or whatever on the ship.
That would actually be really fun if season 2, episode 1, Galaxy 2, everyone's like slightly off from what we knew them as. Yeah.
And Gary's going crazy. Like, there's a new Kevin, but he's not quite. He's
like, I want old Kevin back. I changed my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
He names the refrigerator Betty and not Beth.
Yeah.
That would be a great bottle opener to the season, and then you just pull him into Final Space, and we go with whatever we're doing anyway.
It's
we're
like
just writing season 2 here.
That's great.
It's like
this is my favorite idea.
New Kevin is actually like more socially conscious of where Gary can't handle that because he's like so ready to like hate this.
Why
new
aren't
Kevin.
you a fucking idiot, Kevin? Just be more annoying, please.
Exactly.
Real Kevin, like Gary comes to the realization that he actually liked Kevin.
Yeah, and that's the true romance arc of season 2.
Yeah.
He needs to get his old Kevin back. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's great. We solved it. Let us know what you think of that season 2, episode 1 idea. Let's get to some feedback we got on YouTube. YouTube comments from our last video. People have some questions for us. Let's start with LeperCon89. Is Little Kato alive? Was that light a temporal worm? Why kill Kevin? He was beautiful. My number question is, what do UTF thought Tribord dying he'll be okay. He's my favorite. Also season 2. Question mark? Yes, season 2. So, is Little Kato alive? It is Little Kato alive, yes, right?
I don't want him to be alive. Can he just not be?
Well, look, we love Little Kato, assuming he'll be a character and not nothing. So we can do. Why kill Kevin? Because it was beautiful, right?
Yeah.
It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
He's expendable.
Well,
exactly.
Tribord dying, will he be okay? Maybe, but he's
hella dead.
We can resurrect him. My pitch is do Cyber Phoenix him, like Rick and Morty. Bring him back as a half cyborg. That's
he has a crazy fangirl who can do it.
Yes, he has his Tammy. I'm telling you, it's the same thing.
Oh no.
But I want the new Tribord to be obsessed with Gary versus Quinn.
Ooh, interesting.
Ooh. Yeah.
Romantic tension with Kevin too. Romantic rivals with Gary. Yeah.
Where does my Gary x h.u.e ship fit in here?
It's still fits in. That's the true romance.
Look, Michelle was shipping Gary and Kevin, and I've seen other people shipping Gary and Avocado. I think I said that at one point, but I haven't seen anyone shipping h.u.e and Gary.
I feel like
is Avocado still hecka dead?
Like,
Avocado's hecka dead. We saw the funeral.
That's true.
But Dylan, I didn't mean it that way at the beginning, but honestly, they have some real chemistry. They do.
I guess so. Write the fic and then I'll judge afterwards.
Perfect.
Yeah, and so was that light a temporal worm? So I've seen some discussion about whatever thing it was comparing to the whatever episode from earlier in the season where they is that what it's referring to when they go forward in time slightly?
What if it's just Final Space opening back up?
Yeah, so there's a lot of theories. It could be Final Space opening back up. It could be some sort of physicsy thing like this temporal worm or some other time travel element. It could be a ship picking him up.
It's just Galaxy 2.
I definitely read it as a ship picking him up. It looks like a ship's light turns on.
It looks like there's a door. It looks like there's like a door opening. It's like the light it's bigger back. Like that. Oh God.
Yeah, it could be. I think Nightfall is one of the main contenders for picking him up.
Yeah.
It could be Little Kato picks him up.
No, Little Kato was floating in space. How did he get a ship? Where did he steal it from?
He's awesome.
He's a cat. He always lands on his feet.
Yeah, he got it. So
how? Okay, no.
Okay, we've answered the questions. Michael Thomas says, Kevin died, but they should have made his death less sad. Even though I hate him with a burning passion, I feel like he should have been killed on screen and said something like, well, try not to go insane without me. Yeah, it's potentially, we could have had a Kevin on screen death. I potentially agree with that. He was an important character.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, but I think I think it was nice in how they made it subversive, that it's this big, sad, dramatic moment, and Gary's just like grinning because of that. I think that was meant to be ultra sad. So they had that
of their relationship.
Exactly. None of it matters except that Gary cried tears of joy at Kevin's death. That's the culmination of the entire show. So that was the great part. Dragby says, this is a long comment. I'll cut it off at some point. You guys are underestimating the Titans. Lovecraft horror. The hand was bigger than the earth. The hand of a Titan grabbed the planet like a ball. Imagine something like that unleashed on the universe. So basically, like, he's saying the Titans are unbeatable giant gods, and if we're fighting them in season 2, then we can outwin.
I think Titans can come in all shapes and sizes. First off,
are you body positive on the Titans?
Well, yeah, because the one Titan wasn't that big in comparison to I don't remember it.
They were going through their brain, its brain or whatever.
We've seen one full Titan. I don't think we've seen like the when Nightfall was telling the story, we saw some other Titans, but they were, who knows if that's accurate.
Yeah.
You just see the hands. Yes, the Titans are giant and unbeatable. Yeah. I don't know what's too relevant here. The Earth is doomed, basically.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Earth.
They're playing basketball.
Pick a pickup game of basketball.
And the Earth was abandoned, for the record, mostly.
I'm imagining like they have the Earth, like, but they made it into a globe, like an actual globe, and they're just like setting it on the table.
It's on a desk somewhere.
Yeah, just somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if we care about Earth enough to try to get it back.
They might just like walk past and be like, "Oh, hey, there's the Earth."
I don't care about the Earth enough to get it back.
I mean, they kind of destroyed it.
She says on Earth, but yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. In
our Earth or their Earth?
Their Earth.
Okay. Yeah, I think Quinn is more important thing in Final Space, not Earth.
What about Mooncake, though? We still have to save Mooncake.
Okay, yeah. I have a question about Mooncake, because isn't Mooncake the creation of Final Space and the Breach? So would that mean that if the Breach was open, Mooncake would have been gone, right?
Mooncake would have probably become the Breach.
Right.
I was expecting there to be a second Mooncake.
Yeah, I was too.
Well, what my expectation was, because remember when they first showed Gary's dad closing the breach, and then Mooncake sort of formed where the breach was?
Yeah.
Because of that? So then would that then mean that if the breach was open, then that means that Mooncake would have like dematerialized or whatever, and then would have reformed where the breach was closed, not trapped still with the Lord Commander.
My understanding is that Mooncake is less Mooncake is just the result of the energy released from closing the breach to Final Space, and it's not. And there can be more than one Mooncake. That's what my understanding was. It was never that Mooncake's not like a singular Titan or God or something that just appears when Final Space closes. I thought it was just because of the release of energy. That was my understanding.
Yeah, look. These are all great thoughts, but there's no answer because there's not thought put into this yet. So I mean, there might have been there might have been thought. I just who's
it just
right?
wasn't presented on screen.
There's nothing. We know nothing. Who knows? I think Mooncake can open up Final Space, so we can go back there. I think that's potentially our gate into Final Space in season 2. But nothing.
Is the key, not necessarily.
Okay. Can I talk about something now that we mentioned the Titans, though? Because what was the Lord Commander's plan? Like, what? Like,
he thought he was going
to be a Titan.
But it'd be like, how did you think that was going to work? Do you think they were just going to grab him and he was going to turn into a Titan?
Look, whenever you suffer the radiation of a breach in time and space, I can only assume that there's mental side effects, such as imagining made-up things about becoming a Titan. Like...
And Andy, if a giant Lovecraftian horror and god comes to me and tells me that they'll make me a fellow god, I'm not going to question the mechanism in which that happens. I'm going to just be stunned into acceptance, I think.
So what you're saying, Dylan, is you would totally be a follower in a cult.
I mean, if the Titan presents itself to me right now, I would believe it. It's a fucking Titan. Like, what do you? We didn't know it existed before. What are you questioning here?
Look,
I'd ask if I could still drink.
You still want to go to craft beer heaven? That's what you still want to do?
No, just in general. It's like, if I couldn't drink, if I was a Titan, I'd be like, I'm going to have to get back to you on this one. I'm just saying.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I want to go to margarita heaven.
Margarita.
What about mimosa heaven, April?
That too.
Okay, I said we weren't getting to that, but where were we talking before this? Oh, mooncake and how that works. Yeah, there's no answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Captain Valley Rail Snapshot says, wow, that was an awesome episode. So many awesome dramatic moments. I understand why they had to pull punches with the future of the series in question. I love how dramatic and serious it was, but it had humorous parts. I held my breath for nearly the entire time of the episode.
Oh no.
Yes.
How are they still alive? Someone
said nearly.
Nearly. There's got to be brain damage somewhere.
Okay. April's concerned about you. Please comment that you're okay. Okay.
Yes, please. I'm very concerned.
We're invested in this now.
Captain Goldilocks says, Alex is right. Why do they put the shot of Gary floating in space after the Harry Potter dream sequence? It kind of ruins it. Yeah, there's look,
Yeah.
We went over that on the recap. I don't think it's a big deal, but your mileage may be. They also say, I was satisfied with Gary and Quinn's relationship in this episode. 9 and 10 really set up the relationship well before that. Their interactions felt awkward, especially considering how Gary was like obsessed with Quinn. Yes, we agree.
Yeah.
That was great in 9 and 10.
Thumbs up.
Patron Michael says, will we see Nightfall next season?
I think so.
I think so.
I mean, I thought
I
we'd
could go
see
with
her
that.
after episode 7, and she's barely in 8 and then was not in 9 and 10, so, you know.
I think she'll be pissed that Gary lost her from the past.
Unless this is how she becomes Nightfall.
I mean, again, I think it's not because she said that, but
Yeah.
it's kind of unclear.
Look, we're diverting from the usual timeline, and
So
we're going to
that's
get
a different Nightfall then. That's second. That's
New-
Nightfall B.
New Nightfall.
That's Mightfall you're talking about. That's a
Oh
different.
my god.
I could see season 2 being Gary
Maybe,
and Nightfall trying to find
not
Quinn.
Nightfall,
I could
it's
see
like
that.
Daybreak or something.
Daybreak. Exactly.
Daybreak.
That's-
Yeah. Totally
Like-
different person.
If there's a different way that Nightfall becomes Nightfall, it's a separate one. Although the show has not presented its theory of
Will there
alternate
be
universes.
two-
I don't think it will.
No, it won't. It shouldn't too. I
Yeah,
love what they did
no.
with
It's
it.
better. It's better that we get to argue about this.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we covered everything I want to get into here. So, yeah, I mean MVPs. We got into that stuff. We can just close out the season on what we thought of the season overall. We all like the finale to varying degrees. Good things, bad things. We all love Triborn Kevin, and I think that's the summary. And Hugh, we all love Hugh too. So
Yeah,
He was
there you
the
go.
best. I think Hugh might be my favorite, other than Mooncake.
Oh yeah, Mooncake. Mooncake was underutilized. I have a hot take. I think Avocado's definitely back in season 2.
I don't.
He's dead, but maybe there's final space Avocado.
Maybe he'll be the. Phoenix
I would
person.
love if Avocado became a Titan when he died, and Avocado.
Avocado is the new Lord Commander.
Yeah, or maybe he's either a sympathetic Titan or he's just the villain. I don't know. It would be great.
What if like Lil Kato becomes the new Lord Commander?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Because remember when the breach was closed, Lord Commander got his powers from that. Maybe Little Kato's close enough to get the powers from that.
That's a good point, Andy. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I don't like that.
I don't like it's gonna be a very vengeful.
But I mean, that would make Little Kato a character, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Also, I'm interested to see what we do with Lord Commander because he's still around. Yeah, I think we just need Cody Galloway back on the show, so I think Avocado needs to be back in some form.
It also adds more to the Star Wars Force satire stuff if Little Kato gets Force powers too.
Ooh, so yeah, yeah, I could see that. I think that's another really good call. I could see them doing that. That would justify Little Kato's pointlessness this season.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Harsh. I mean, he was good in Little Kato was good in episode 7. He was good in episode 7.
Yeah, which is part of the reason why I like episode 7 because all the characters feel a little more fleshed out in general in that episode.
Yeah, and it's the only episode with time shenanigans, which is what I wanted the whole show. And there's no episode, but, we got it there. Yeah, more time shenanigans in season 2. Anyway, April, final thoughts on all of season 1 and Final Space going forward.
So it's a really strong first season, even though The story is kind of all over the place. It's fun. It's super easy to watch. There's really, really pretty like visuals, and the music's very strong and adds to it. And I would totally recommend this to anyone, but all of the people listening to this podcast have already seen it, so go tell your friends.
Yeah, who are you recommending it to? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got to the finale, you should watch this show.
Hey, I don't know if you've seen the show, but no, but it's a really like fun and easy to watch show. It's okay if you don't really care about having everything super like tied and closed at the end. It's so pretty, and I know we've said it like a million times, but it still amazes me that it was like created in Toon Boom. Because yeah, it's just really wonderful to look at, and I hope there's a season 2, because the show was sort of written to be more than one season, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. John, what's your postmortem on the season of Final Space?
As an investment season, this was a really good one, and I use that term carefully because when I was thinking about how I was going to sum up season 1, and the way I think about it is that it's got a lot of great ideas not yet come to full bloom, but at the same time, I'm not sure how much of a criticism that is of the show, because I'm thinking about some of the other stuff I've watched. Adventure Time season 1 was all investment. They were laying the groundwork for what came, and what came next was really good. Steven Universe, same thing. I think Final Space has every potential to be a really great show if they could find what worked this season and expand upon that, be a little more focused, have a plot that maybe stretches episode 1 to 10. And for the love of God, if you have David Tennant voicing a character, use him more than just 4 episodes, please. I felt like, Lord Commander should have been the big giant supervillain this whole season. I hope they remedy that situation in season 2. I feel like the show would really benefit from that.
We at least got a lot of range out of him. We got to see him as Jack and talk about taquitos, and I thought there was a lot there.
I thought his presence was very strong, and I almost kind of liked that he wasn't like in every single episode. I think that helped like add to his character and to him as a villain, because it gets sort of boring whenever like every episode you're facing off against the villain, because it loses its meaning by the time you do get to the season finale.
Yeah.
He could still be more of a he could be a presence without being on screen though. I felt like the show kind of forgot about him in the middle section. Like just have him as like, okay, this is the thing we have to deal with at some point. And I think it would provide a good sort of like base, a continuity base that you can string everything along to. It doesn't have to be in every episode, but he should have a presence, presence when he's not on screen.
I think I agree with April here. I think there's a risk when you have a villain who comes up all the time, showing up in the background all the time, where you start to feel like they aren't a threat anymore. And I feel like that never came up with Lord Commander. He always felt like a threat to the crew. And at the very least, that is very well done from the show, because I always felt like he could have just killed them all at any moment.
I'd still like to see maybe a bit more of a more like stable motive for him, though, because like I
agree with that.
I never quite got why he's like needs Final Space open, why he needs to be a why he wants to be a Titan, how he figured that out. I'm still not entirely sure why.
Titans never die.
Yeah, I mean, that would have cured him. So that's what I think. Yeah, I think given the level of depth we got, I think his screen time was very appropriate, and anything more would have stretched him too thin. But it also would have been great to see even more depth, and then he could have been on screen more. But we didn't get enough from him to expand beyond what we got, I think. But I'm interested to see if he's in season 2 at all. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Andy, postmortem on season 1.
I think this show was really fun. I think that it had some stronger. I think the peaks and valleys of the show, like the highs and lows of it, were a lot closer than a lot of first seasons of shows. But I also think that there were some plot threads like Quinn and Gary that I really just did not buy at all. But when it was good, it was really good, and I really just enjoyed watching it. This is one of the shows that I can remember in recent history that I've watched, and I just kind of just forgot what I was doing. I was just sitting on my couch watching the TV and just like and I was like, oh, did 20 minutes already pass? That was awesome. That was really fun. And that just hasn't happened for a show in a long time for me. It was just a fun show. One thing though, we need more Mooncake. Mooncake, there can never be enough of him. He is the best.
More Mooncake. Yeah.
Chukity.
Cosign. Yep. Chukity. No, Alex
Chukity.
would be annoying with that, but yeah, Andy's replacing him. Okay.
It's
yeah.
funny you never said that at the beginning, Dylan, because I would have annoyed you through the whole podcast if you had said that at the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I didn't. Yeah, I said on the recap, I think it's an incredibly remarkable season 1, one of the best of any show we've ever covered by far. Like, just a remarkable feat of animation and, just really, really great in general. Infinite, promise if we are going to continue here. So, really hope we do, and look forward to talking about it whenever that happens. We got an iTunes review on read before we leave on our Final Space feed from K33G, AN2376G, I don't know how to pronounce that. Not only are Final Space reviews very rare at the time of this writing, but they never go as in-depth as Overly Animated. This podcast series spends its time actively analyzing every bit of character development, animated moments, and beautiful scenery that they can. It is definitely worth a watch. Thank you for the review.
You like us. You really like us.
Gross.
Hey.
Avatar quote, I think.
No, it's that. Never mind.
What is it?
You try
Anyway.
it, Dylan. It's okay.
It's a quote from something, right?
It was I think it was Sally, what's her name's Oscar speech when she finally won.
Oh yeah. Whatever.
Dylan,
Frances McDormand? Is that who we mean?
No, not her. This was back in like the 90s, I think.
Oh, okay. This sounds like something else. Okay. Yeah, you can give us an iTunes review either on our Final Space feed or our main feed. That'd be much appreciated. Also, if you're listening on YouTube, subscribe. That really helps us. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can remonetize. So it really, really helps us if you subscribe, and thumbs up. And you guys have been really great Final Space people. Our recap right now is 24 thumbs up and 0 thumbs down. Now that I said it, I cursed it, but that's great.
Yeah,
So
we're done. It's done.
you guys are the
Someone's
you guys
gonna
are
be the first.
You guys are the anti-Ruby. I'm calling it now. So thank you, Final Space. You did it.
Dylan said that with a lot of experience with the Ruby fan base.
Oh yeah, no, we love them, but
I love our Ruby fans.
yeah, they don't love us, but we love them.
I've still never
you can-
seen Ruby. Yay!
Yeah, this show is better than Ruby, and you can let's all say that.
Really good.
And
Yeah.
here come the downvotes.
It's not going out on a limb here, and
They
yeah,
sense it.
we
Their,
cover
ears perk up.
if you listen to our Final Space coverage, yeah, we also talk about other shows like Ruby, but more frequently Steven Universe, Miraculous Lady Alex, Star vs. Force of Evil, and in terms of adult comedies, Rick and Morty and BoJack Horseman. One of those will be back this year, and it is not Rick and Morty. And
and then say Steven Universe, Dylan.
we're talking about that on Monday. Like,
But I mean, that's not really frequent.
look, everything will change when things start actually happening on that show.
The moons
okay.
have aligned. Let's just be happy about that.
Yeah, stuff's happening. So check out our coverage of those shows. Yeah, if you subscribe to the YouTube, you'll get everything for good and bad. There's a lot of content, but you might, it's okay.
Wow. Are you dissing our own content, Dylan?
I'm just saying if people don't listen to shows, then they have to get all the notifications, but I think that's fine. I think
And there's one more thing. If you have a Amazon Echo device, you can play the latest episode of Overly Animated by just asking her.
Yep. We're on TuneIn. That's what that means. So yeah, you can do that with your Echo. We're also on Stitcher and other stuff. Find all that at overlyanimated.com. Thank you guys for supporting our Final Space podcast this season. I don't have any more planned right now, but if you have specific topics you'd like us to delve into more in the off season, then let us know. I'll draft some ideas, and maybe eventually we can get to some Final Space off season roundtables. We do that for some shows. So yeah, let us know in the comments, all of that. And you can also talk with us on our Discord, overlyanimated.com/Discord. Or support us via Patreon. That's the number one way to support us, patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Juliana, aka Julie Jana. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John Ryan, Steve, Alex, Andy, and Hugh. Yep, other podcasts coming up, the big Steven Universe episodes, and we also have Miraculous Ladybug, or maybe, and Mysticons, and find all that at Overly. To Craig of the Creep go up recently, and yeah, find all that at overlyanimated.com. Thank you guys very much for listening. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.